A bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Adam Schiff is out and about this weekend on Sunday morning shows saying all of this news is just Russian disinformation.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
You know, I wasn't going to say this at all, but I can't help it. There you go again.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
You are the director of national intelligence. Is this Russian disinformation, Director?
It's funny that some of the people that complain the most about intelligence being politicized are the ones politicizing intelligence. It is Adam Schiff who said that the intelligence community believes Hunter Biden's laptop and the emails on it are part of some Russian disinformation campaign. Let me be clear. The intelligence community doesn't believe that because there's no intelligence that supports that.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
We're just scratching the surface. And yes, I've heard all kinds of things that I think will probably be revealed over the next few days. There's a treasure trove of emails and video and pictures in not only the purported computer of Hunter Biden, but now we've got the co-conspirator. I guess we're probably going to just find more information every day over the next couple of weeks.
Mr. Biden, what is your response to the New York Post story about your son, sir?
I know you'd asked it. I had no response. It's another smear campaign.
He will not be seen again after today until Thursday night in Nashville at that next debate. This week is mostly about debate prep.
Right. Unchained and unstoppable.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get?
Well, come on, man. The American people deserve a straight answer, Joe.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
You know, on Monday, you try to look for a feel-good story or two, just because, you know, people might be a little down. Weather's changing. The Pats lost to a lousy team at home. But, you know, sometimes you don't find it, or sometimes you find one and you think, okay, I'll make this the feel-good story of the day. And the one I was using today was a guy named Nick Zizzle. I think his name is Nuke Zizzle. He's a rapper from L.A. And he got he did a rap song that's got like 750,000 views on YouTube about how he was ripping off the system, the California unemployment system, which had all this extra money coming in for the panic relief. And so he just got busted by the feds for they saw the video and they said, let's look into this guy. $1.2 million. He's stolen allegedly. 1.2 million. He's already spent $740,000 of it. I thought that was a good story. I made it into a quick column for HowieCarShow.com. But you know what? Then no sooner does that column get posted, and I think I've done my daily feel-good story for Monday, then we get a really much better feel-good story. You know this guy, Jeffrey Toobin, he is totally talk about stage 4. He's got stage 5 Trump derangement syndrome. He's the classic Harvard turd. He went to law school with Elena Kagan, and he's a second generation media hack. Too, his mother was some kind of ABC correspondent, and he knocked up Jeffrey Greenfield's daughter, and then refused to admit that he was the father until they had to do a DNA test. He's just a turd's turd on CNN and in the New Yorker, which last year tried to cover up all of Hunter Biden's misspent youth and adulthood. So here's the headline today, and Grace is going crazy about this too, because she has to watch Jeffrey Toobin sometimes for the cuts. New Yorker suspends Jeffrey Toobin for Zoom. I can't even read the headline. I'm not even going to read the incident. The New Yorker has suspended reporter Jeffrey Toobin. Sources tell Vice it's because he exposed himself during a Zoom call last week between members of the New Yorker and WNYC Radio. What? What?
Hey, I was going to save this story for Police Blotter Facts Friday.
No, it wasn't even going to make it to 5:30 today, let alone 5:30 on Friday.
Howie, this is so incredible for multiple reasons, but mostly because he's trying to say that he didn't know the camera was on or he didn't know it was muted. And I just have to say, the Trump deranged people out there are really falling apart with only 2 weeks left to go. They're crumbling.
But what does this mean? I thought I had muted the Zoom video. What does that mean, Grace?
I don't know, but I want to make a suggestion to all men everywhere. Just keep your pants on. If there's any sort of computer, or just keep them on. It's just a good rule of thumb. Keep the pants on.
When I think of all the BS I've taken over the years, because one day in 2013, I showed up at a local TV newscast with short pants on. Short pants. I still hear it. I still get the suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune about it. And what the hell was he thinking of? I say that so often with these people. So
I don't have much experience with Zoom, but you do, Howie, because you've done teleconferences on Zoom. There are usually two options. You can mute your microphone or you can stop sharing your camera. And he probably had his microphone muted, thinking that he was not sharing his camera anymore.
But why did he have his pants off for this kind of a conference? That's what I don't get.
Maybe the mood struck him just right. Who knows?
I mean, you've seen me do these things. Have you ever
Not
heard
Jeffrey
me?
Toobin? I've never seen you do anything like Jeffrey Toobin.
Hey, I got to do the Zoom call. Let me take my pants off here before we do it.
I think the real question is, and I just threw this out on my Twitter, and I'd love to hear from people. Maybe you can text it in to Howie. How exactly will Jeffrey Toobin blame this on Donald Trump? My theory is he will say something like, the lawlessness of this Trump administration was too much. I'm a legal, expert. It was too much for me to bear, and this is what happened. But there's got to be some connection to either Trump or Putin, and it's going to have to happen within the next 20 minutes.
Oh, I think it's going to be Putin, isn't it? Adam Schiff is going to come out, and he's going to go on CNN because that's where this guy works or did work. He was on Saturday, so I guess he was on CNN after this horrible incident occurred, and this open and gross lewdness, this lewd and lascivious conduct. I love those phrases. He was on after this happened on CNN. So I think it's only fair that Adam Schiff come back on with Wolf Blitzer and again try to blame everything on the Russians like they're doing with the Hunter Biden story. 844 978. Where is the Ted Knight laugh from Paul, the UPS guy says. But he's not dead, Paul, the UPS guy. Although I guess in some ways he's dead. He's kind of dead like Heilemann is. All these people on all these lefties on cable TV have been getting into these jams too, haven't they? All of them. And not just cable, the network newscast. Matt Lauer, Heilemann, Epstein, who was kind of a guy on the fringes of it. Weinstein, who was protected by NBC. All the guys from 60 Minutes. Phil Griffin, the guy who ran MSNBC. Oh, another perv outed on out of the mainstream media. 561. Can you hack a Zoom call? He could use the Joy Reid, Steve Scully excuse too, couldn't he? Somebody hacked it. I don't know. This is good stuff though. This is let's see this guy sneak out of this. He is so smug and so sanctimonious and so pompous, and he looks down his nose at credulous boomer rubes like you and me, because he went to Harvard, Harvard, and then he went to Harvard Law School. Yes, I'm very friendly with Elena Kagan. Can we get a statement from Elena Kagan, his classmate at Harvard Law School, how she feels about this terrible incident?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
I'm sorry. We just had to begin with this today. We'll get to the to the more pressing issues of the day, including the really hard-hitting questions that Joe Biden got yesterday down at Durham, North Carolina. What flavor did you get for your milkshake? We sometimes laugh about that's the questions Joe Biden gets. If you were a tree, what tree would you?
We got everybody milkshakes, didn't we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got everybody?
Yes, they're in the car, sir.
All right.
We got it. See, look.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get? We got one vanilla, one chocolate, but I wanted to get what we call black and white, but we're going to move it another.
Oh, God. That had to be a national reporter. I'm gonna say that the reporter in the Research Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, was too smart to ask a question like that. What were your flavors? At least, and he answered that question. Then somebody, a real reporter, asked him a question to respond to Hunter Biden, and of course, there was no response to that. Let's hear it though. Might as well hear it.
And one more question, the FBI is reporting out.
Thank you. So they haven't denied it. Have they? All right. 339. Toobin's body parts were photoshopped. 561. With everything that's going on in 2020, COVID, fires, election meddling, you expect me to keep track of my pants? He's 60 years old. How many times has this happened to him in the past? All right. 844-500-4242. We'll take your calls when we come back. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone. Howie Carr.
Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Good thing Roman makes treating ED simple, safe, and from the comfort of your own home. Get a free online evaluation today at GetRoman.com/Howie. If approved, you'll get up to $50 off your first month of ED treatment. GetRoman.com/Howie. Campers, do you have an RV that you're ready to sell? Cold Springs RV can help. They currently have customers looking for used RVs manufactured after 2011. Are you ready to sell or trade in that RV that may just be sitting in your yard? New England's premier RV dealer, Cold Springs RV, is ready to sell your camper on consignment. They have the ability to provide financing, repair, bodywork, detailing, and everything it takes to get your RV in great shape for resale. If you're looking for an RV, get to Cold Springs and see the selection of new and used units available. This is Howie Carr. Go score a deal on a new or pre-owned pop-up, travel trailer, fifth wheel, or motor home. The 2021 models are now arriving daily, but they won't last long. Cold Springs RV is your destination for all things camping. Their brand new state-of-the-art service facility is ready for you, servicing all makes and models. If you are ready to winterize or just store your camper, Cold Springs RV can help. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. ColdSpringsRV.com.
Sure, you have a great product, but did you know thousands of times a day advertisers try to get in your head and you really don't remember the product or the service? The Draw Shop knows your message needs to be watched and understood to convert viewers into buyers. The Draw Shop produces powerful, animated, and affordable videos. Single-person businesses working out of a converted garage to Fortune 500 companies have used the Draw Shop to make videos that are impossible to be misunderstood. Whiteboard animated videos turn viewers into buyers and believers using proven neuroscience, psychology, and highly refined marketing knowledge. Viewers take action. And with a compelling animated video from the Draw Shop, conversions are 3 to 5 times the national average. The Draw Shop. Call 844-619-3729 or visit thedrawshop.com. That's thedrawshop.com.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrate blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? Is that not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about never mind.
Yeah, no, Chester,
Ignore me.
that's
I was
could add to
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
It is another credible, corroborated allegation of sexual misconduct.
This is really good news for a lot of people around Donald Trump.
What?
Those are old Toobin cuts.
Oh, those. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar. I'm not as familiar with them as you guys are because I don't watch CNN. I don't have to watch CNN. I make you guys watch CNN.
Distract us from the fact that this is egregiously inappropriate behavior.
It certainly is. I couldn't have said it better. What a great adverb.
It's a really chilling message.
It's chilling. It's egregious. And it's chilling both.
And it's just a way of harassing people.
Is he going to have to register as a sex offender now? Is this level 2 or level? No, it's probably level 2, I would say, or level 1, depending on who was in the audience when he exposed himself like this. Let's see. Wonder if they'll remove his anti-Trump book from the table at your local BJ's Wholesale Club. It's also number 2 on Amazon True Crime. Well, he's got a follow-up to the True Crime. How about TV Pervs in the Trump era? That would be about a 700-page book. Matt Lauer himself would be 100 pages. Weinstein would be another 150. Charlie Rose. Again, Phil Griffin, the executive producer of 60 Minutes. Tom Brokaw, all those people.
Because it is another credible, corroborated allegation of sexual misconduct.
I mean, I think this thing is enormous.
What's enormous? Yeah, that's a bad word to be using in this context, Mr. Toobin. Somebody's already tweeted out that from now on, exposing oneself on a Zoom conference call with your coworkers will be known as Toobin it. So, yes, you hear about so-and-so, he got fired. Yeah, he was Toobin it. Yeah, he's going down in the next edition of Merriam-Webster dictionary. Raycon's newest wireless earbuds, the Everyday E25s, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and a noise isolating fit that really allows you to focus on what you're listening to. Get 15% Raycon wireless earbuds at buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie. Do we know if he has any podcasts out, Jeffrey Toobin? Maybe that's what I'll be using my Raycons for next, my earbuds. Just kidding. No, I won't be using them for that. I don't listen to anybody that even had a cup of coffee in Harvard Square other than myself. All right, Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will NBC's Kristen Welker bring up the Hunter Biden story during Thursday's debate?
Well, this was a question last week, a variation of this. Will Stephanopoulos bring it up? And 96% of us said no, and 96% of us were correct. I'm going to say no again.
97%, not to be outdone by Stephanopoulos, say no.
1% of the audience learned their lesson by thinking that the mainstream media was going to play it down the middle. They're never going to bring this up. This is just too good. I mean, listen to Biden. This was Biden on Friday night, and again, the key thing here is not that he attacks this CBS reporter. And by the way, whatever happened to CBS? Whatever happened to the good old glory days of Dan Rather making crap up like the Texas Air National Guard story? Fake but accurate news. First they get Catherine Herridge from Fox, and she's breaking stories right and left on Russiagate. And now we have this guy who I never heard of, Bo Erickson or something like that. He's asking real questions. Random acts of journalism at CBS. Something's wrong here. But anyway, here's Biden lashing out when he asks him about the stories, the emails of Hunter.
And Mr. Biden, what is your response to the New York Post story about your son, sir?
I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. Right up your alley. Another question you always ask. And did you...
Another smear campaign? Is this guy known as like a hard-hitting journalist? Or has Joe mind melded him into Peter Doocy, or maybe even Catherine Herridge? There aren't a lot of hard-hitting scribes around Joe Biden, if you haven't noticed. All right. Joe Biden, you had me at I don't have a response. Now, I use that as the lead on my column yesterday. I don't have a response. That says it all, doesn't it? He's not they put out these stooges like Adam Schiff, like AP News, AP that used to stand for Associated Press. Now it stands for Another Pravda. NBC, quote unquote, news. They're putting out these fake stories from the FBI saying they're investigating Russian disinformation, and it's all BS. I mean, how many times can they cry wolf, even to Wolf Blitzer? Another line I used in my column yesterday. I mean, who's buying this? The sky is falling. The sky is falling. This is what they're. If it's Russian disinformation, why doesn't Joe come out and say so? Hell, why doesn't Hunter put down his crack pipe and come out and deny it? We'll take some calls when we come back. I'm Howie Carr.
Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the water experts serving Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. skillingsandsons.com. Let me tell you about a new sponsor to the Howie Carr Show, Helping Hands of America. For over 2 decades, Helping Hands has made donating your car, truck, or boat to a New England charity incredibly easy. I've donated, and you should too. It takes one call. The pickup is not only fast, but it's free, and your donation is 100% tax deductible. Call Helping Hands at 888-881-9090. That's 888-881-9090. Or visit helpinghandsofamerica.org. Restrictions may apply.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
Now's the perfect time to get $25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And I have to say, we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like that they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
I'm not perfect. And, I make mistakes like everybody does. But sometimes I like to tell the audience that what we're talking about will never happen to me. Patrice from Arlington always likes that when I say something. You'll never see me getting caught like this. And this is one of those cases. And I'm just looking at the headline from the New York Post. And this, the other stories I was reading from, they were from sort of, not, adult only websites, that don't care about family values or, et cetera. This is from the New York Post, which is a major mainstream newspaper, despite what they're saying about it now. New Yorker suspends writer Jeffrey Toobin for showing, they use the P word, during Zoom call. So they're just, that's what it comes down to. It's going to be kind of tough for Jeffrey to come back from this, I think. 844-500-4242, 781. Hopefully with Chris Christie in quarantine, he hasn't been coaching Trump for this debate because the last one was an absolute disaster. Christie's abrasive style works good on a stage full of candidates, but not one-on-one. I don't know. He was with Trump in 2016 in New Hampshire when he came up to up for the trial run where I was the moderator, and that St. Louis debate, even after the Access Hollywood disaster on Friday night, that turned out to be a big victory for Trump. I'm not sure that it's that bad to have Christie in the room, unless you're asking him who to appoint as the FBI director. This whole FBI thing is a disgrace with Biden that they sat on this. And it's worse than that, actually. And we'll talk about it as the afternoon goes on. But I'll just tell you one part of it. This guy who got the computers from Hunter Biden to repair, his father is a Vietnam vet. He flew helicopters in Vietnam, and he's active in the veterans organizations and all this stuff. So his son told him that he'd gotten all this stuff and said, what do I do with it, Dad? And the dad said, I'll take it to the FBI office in Albuquerque. And they blew him off. Just like they blew off the aunt of the Parkland High shooter when she called and said my nephew was going to shoot up a school, and they just didn't care about it. Or the guy Gary Sampson up in Boston, who he wanted to surrender to the FBI, and they just didn't. They just said that's too late it's too late on Friday afternoon. We can't pick you up. So he goes and kills 3 guys. And this was the same thing. This guy delivers them these tapes. I mean, this hard drive full of all this horrible stuff, and they didn't want it. And then finally they came back months later, a couple of agents in the Wilmington, Delaware office. And now I see one of the agents in the Wilmington, Delaware office is this guy who's the FBI's leading child porn specialist. So I don't know if he got the assignment to deliver the grand jury subpoena to the repair shop owner because he was the child pornography expert, or because he just happens to be assigned to the Wilmington office. 844-500-4242. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Howie, got nothing to do with the computer. But I got on Friday delivered to me from Kearney, New Jersey, post op to my name, a ballot, absentee ballot, and
did you request it? Did you?
No, I did not request it. I requested one. I got one. I've already filled it out. It's already been sent in.
Yeah.
So it was a surprise to me to get this. I thought it was a follow up. And it's a state of New Hampshire absentee ballot again. And it's got a self-addressed envelope back to 229 Main Street, Nashville, New Hampshire, which would have been the place I'd send it to. But I called up this morning and talked to the town clerk, and she said that people in Nashville have been receiving those, and they're bogus ballot.
Really? And they're including a stamped self-addressed envelope for return.
Correct.
Which means it costs like over $1 to send out each of these letters. That takes a lot of money to do that, doesn't it?
It's got the stamp on it, and the woman said that I could use that stamp and use it on the envelope.
God,
but the ballot itself is bogus.
So when did the letter arrive?
Friday.
Has there been anything in the union leader about this?
I have not talked to anybody else about this. You're the first person I thought of that I could get this through to, that the people would hear about it.
I tell you what, Grace, can you hang on? Can you take Bob's number and give it to James O'Keefe at Project Veritas? Because they're keeping an eye on this in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is one of the swing states. I mean, I expect voter fraud in places like Massachusetts, for instance, or New Jersey, but those are going to be blue states. I regret to say I don't think Trump could win either of those states, but New Hampshire is still within the realm of possibility. The president had a conference call today with some of the state campaign managers, and he said he listed New Hampshire, New Mexico, and Minnesota as 3 states that he had narrowly lost in 2016 that he thought he could win this year. And I could see him winning any of those states, but not if you have this kind of fraud going on. And I mean, does anyone think this is a Republican fraud? that's being perpetrated. Letters from Kearney, New Jersey. Thanks for the call, Bob. Mike, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Howie. With this laptop, one question nobody's been asking. There's a sticker on it that says the Beau Biden Foundation.
Yes.
Now, is this a setup for a money laundering operation in the kid's name? Who runs the foundation? What's its mission? Anybody got a clue on this?
I don't think it's I don't think it's a big time racket like the Clinton Foundation, if that's what you're asking, Mike.
No, but I'm just wondering if they're not, nobody seems to know anything about this thing.
No, I don't think anybody does know anything about it. It's very interesting too. Did you see that last week he had abandoned it? Do you know what the bill was, by the way, for this whole thing? The $85. That was a pretty good price for retrieving all that information. Having gone through that once with a computer, I spent a hell of a lot more than $85. But so he never paid the bill for all these months. And so last week, the New York Post is putting the finishing touches on the story on last Tuesday, Mike. And guess who emailed the repair shop owner in Wilmington, Delaware? A lawyer for Hunter Biden. He finally wanted the computer back. And the guy said, it's too late. The FBI has the computer now, and they've been sitting on it for all these months. And again, they had that computer all through the whole Ukrainian hoax. And knowing, and they said nothing. There were no leaks, nothing. Considering the Ukrainian hoax was created by fake leaks, by people that hated Trump in the White House, just Obama holdovers and people from foreign countries, naturalized citizens, making crap up about the president of the United States. And the FBI had what amounts to exculpatory evidence, and they never released it to the president or anybody else. It's just appalling. The FBI's got to go. I think there's just he's got to take. I hope he gets a second term just to take the FBI apart from top to bottom. From these agents in Albuquerque blowing off the father of this guy who's trying to give them what could be the biggest story of the last couple of years. They didn't care. To hiding the information when they finally picked up the computer. It's just it's just a crooked outfit. It's the Democrats' secret police. It's like Stasi in East Germany or the KGB, or what do they call it in Havana? G2. It's the secret. The FBI has become the secret police. Thanks for the call, Mike. Jim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Howie, I'll give you some background information. I'm 71 Monday. My father died when I was 4, and I'm lucky enough to have 4 great kids. And I'm not a Ted Kennedy fan any more than you. But one time I heard him in an interview, and someone asked him, what was the toughest thing he ever had to do? And he said it was go into the Ted Jr.'s hospital room and tell him they had to take his leg. And it kind of hit me, but I never heard him say it again. It was something he said, which was kind of unusual for him. But now, every time I see Joe Biden, he brings up Beau Biden like it's part of a routine to get sympathy. And it kind of really rubs me the wrong way.
Right. But this isn't, he's been doing this his entire career, Jim. You know that, right? I mean, his wife was killed in this accident in Wilmington, Delaware, right after he was elected to the Senate. He was 29 years old. His daughter, who was Naomi, that's the daughter that Hunter named his daughter after Naomi, his sister. He always kept saying my family was wiped out by a truck driver who drank his lunch. And Jim, that wasn't true. That was totally false. If anything, his first wife ran the stop sign and was responsible for the accident, but the truck driver was not responsible and he was not drunk. And for all those years, Biden just kept referring to it, and finally the family wrote to him, the family of the truck driver, and said, "Can you stop lying about our father?" And so this is nothing new, Jim. He's done this his whole life. Did you hear about his thing with the union people in Detroit? He was this was last month, and he got called out on it by a Democrat left-leaning newspaper, the Detroit Free Press. He was up there and he was talking about raising taxes, and he said he wasn't going to raise taxes on anybody that was making less than $400,000, which is a lie, by the way. But he said, here's what he said. He said he had never made more than $400,000. He's given out his tax records. He made, I think, $11 million in 2017. He made $5 million in 2018. He's a multimillionaire, but he just lied he lied flat out. Cut 4.
No, make under $400,000, which is more money than I've ever made.
Which is more money than I've ever made. I mean, how does he get away with lying like this? He's a Democrat. I know. The answer is the answer is obvious. Thanks for the call, Jim. 844-500-4242. The World War II coin and stamp collection sold out right away in last week's Cheap Bastard deal, but you can still save with code word Howie. I love these coins and stamps. They're in this frame here, which I'm tapping for social media. Included in the beautifully framed piece is a 1943 steel penny. They were made out of steel instead of copper that 1 year because copper was needed for the war effort. They used to be around when I was a little kid, and I would always save them, but you haven't seen any in circulation for a long, long time. It also includes a 1945 nickel that's mostly made out of silver, since they also needed the actual nickel for the war effort. And also a mercury dime, which hasn't been minted since 1945, and that's mostly silver too. If you enjoy history as much as I do, then you're going to love this World War II coin and stamp collection. It's also a perfect Christmas gift for a loved one or a grandchild you're trying to introduce to history or to coin collecting or stamp collecting. It will also bring back memories of family members who fought in the Greatest Generations War, like some of my family members did. Eden Pure is giving you $20 off for this World War II collection. The more you buy, the more you save. They're very affordable Christmas gifts. Go to EdenPure.com and click on the Howie Carr banner. You can't miss it. And don't forget code word Howie. Supplies are limited. EdenPure.com, code word Howie, and save $20 off this great collection. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Route 1 Grill House in Saugus, located just before the Cactus. From their steak tips and ribs, the Route 1 Grill House has it all. Open now 7 days a week for both outdoor and indoor dining.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaps anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, or late spring.
Some New Hampshire residents, you can print that out. You can get that printed out for me. It doesn't have a link.
Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Jack. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much
if
better.
I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truckstown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Now I'm looking at the Washington Post story about Jeffrey Toobin, and again, this tells you the way journalism has changed. The New Yorker magazine has suspended longtime staff writer Jeffrey Toobin after he inadvertently exposed himself during a virtual staff call last week over the messaging platform Zoom. See, when I started out a long time ago, I know I'm dating myself here, if I'd written inadvertently, the city editor would have said, how do you know it was inadvertent? How do you know he's not just a perv? And
So it's really a fake issue.
And what we would do is say, Toobin, in a statement, said he inadvertently committed this lewd and lascivious, open and gross conduct.
It's just grotesque.
It is just grotesque, but of course now he's a member of the beautiful people, the party. He's a party apparatchik, so he must be protected under any circumstances.
There were no scandals to speak of.
No scandals to speak of. Incidentally, the guy from New Hampshire just called and said he got a weird mail-in ballot from Connecticut. It did make the newscast up there, Channel 9, WMUR. Some New Hampshire residents have received unidentified mailers containing an absentee ballot application form with an allegedly handwritten note, according to the Attorney General's office. The message on the note states, "You are needed. Please fill this out and mail it in." The mailer also contains a return address with the recipient's town hall or clerk in the address block. And it doesn't say that it's coming out of Kearney, New Jersey, but that's what the caller said. Officials want voters to be aware that these unidentified mailers have not been sent by New Hampshire town or city clerks. These mailers have not been sent by any state agency. Officials said there is no evidence right now they're from a political party or that this is voter fraud. Oh boy. Yeah, they were sent out inadvertently. Give me a break. Dave, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Howie.
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to call up and say that in the big guy memo, where Hunter is holding 10% for the big guy, there's a reference to a TB, and the TB is 95% likely to be Tony Blinken. There's a Tony in the email directing Hunter how to gain access to the State Department.
Yeah.
To see Tony, you have to go around security.
Right.
It's the FOIA email.
Uh-huh.
Well, he was Undersecretary of State.
Right.
In the Obama administration.
Well, didn't Kerry know about this as well? Maybe because his stepson was in on a couple of these deals and has since extracted himself. But I believe Kerry was asked about Burisma and whether he knew about it last year at a town hall meeting, and he denied it. He lied, right? Did he not?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And as it turns out, Tony Blinken is a partner at Pine Island Partners, along with Tom Daschle, Saxby Chambliss, and a bunch of ex-senators.
Deep staters, in other words.
Bought
Because
they bought a defense manufacturing company, and he's part of that mix as well. But TB, nobody's talked about TB. I'm pretty sure it's Tony Blinken, 95% sure.
Dave, we got to worry about BG right now. Big guy. That's the guy. We can deal with TB later on, but not BG has got to be dealt with immediately here. And I wonder what the New York Post has got coming next. By the way, did you notice on Saturday, or I guess it was Friday or Saturday, they were all saying, "Oh, this is not real. This is Russian disinformation. This is all made up stuff. This is concocted by the vast right-wing conspiracy and Putin, et cetera, et cetera." And then they release the text between Hunter and his and the big guy, and the big guy is saying, "We just need to help you." And so all the same people who were saying it was all false 24 hours earlier now then began saying, these emails and texts just show what a great, loving father the big guy was. You know, they just turn on a dime and nobody ever calls him. I'm Howie Carr.
You know what?
Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship; it's just authoritarian now. But let's call it Red China. Eden Pure will continue their buy one get one free promotion for the Thunderstorm air purification system all week long. Eden Pure is able to do this due to the huge success from the Howie Carr Show listeners. The response has been tremendous, and Eden Pure is passing on those savings to the listeners. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm works like a real thunderstorm. It quietly sends out super oxygen and ions to kill odors in your room. Over the weekend, I saw my daughter Carolyn, and she asked if she could have one for her basement in her new home. She asked if it really worked.
ordered is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Adam Schiff is out and about this weekend on Sunday morning shows saying all of this news is just Russian disinformation.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
You know, I wasn't going to say this at all, but I can't help it. There you go again.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
You are the director of national intelligence. Is this Russian disinformation, Director?
It's funny that some of the people that complain the most about intelligence being politicized are the ones politicizing intelligence. It is Adam Schiff who said that the intelligence community believes Hunter Biden's laptop and the emails on it are part of some Russian disinformation campaign. Let me be clear. The intelligence community doesn't believe that because there's no intelligence that supports that.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
We're just scratching the surface. And yes, I've heard all kinds of things that I think will probably be revealed over the next few days. There's a treasure trove of emails and video and pictures in not only the purported computer of Hunter Biden, but now we've got the co-conspirator. I guess we're probably going to just find more information every day over the next couple of weeks.
Mr. Biden, what is your response to the New York Post story about your son, sir?
I know you'd ask it. I had no response. It's another smear campaign.
He will not be seen again after today until Thursday night in Nashville at that next debate. This week is mostly about debate prep.
Right. Unchained and unstoppable.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get?
Well, come on, man. The American people deserve a straight answer, Joe.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. And if you'd like to join us, the toll-free number is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. A lot of news today, as always, as we come down to the end of the presidential campaign. A legal correspondent for CNN has been suspended today. Jeffrey Toobin, the rabidly anti-Trump Harvard rump swab, apparently was on a Zoom call last week, and he exposed himself.
Giggity, giggity, giggity goo.
He thought the camera was muted. I don't know. But he's gone. The Trump campaign has written to the Commission on Presidential Debates saying, I thought this was supposed to be a foreign policy debate. They didn't think that they were going to have to go over the same Chris Wallace, when did you stop beating your wife questions for Donald Trump, fighting COVID.
Climate change.
Yeah, climate change does not show up, I don't think, on the top 20 issues. Whenever they do a poll, any kind of poll of the American people, what are the top issues? Climate change is not there because people have figured it out. I saw a poll today. COVID is down to like number 4 or 5. COVID-19 is just another form of climate change. It just, it's experts calling the shots and predicting the imminent end of the world, basically. The problem with COVID-19, though, is that they don't have a century-long timetable to say, if you don't do this, the Miami will be underwater, Manhattan will be underwater by 2100. You think, who's going to be around in 2100? COVID-19, they predicted, imminent death. 2 million were supposed to be dead by now. It's not that. We don't even know if it's really 200,000. So the Trump people want to get this back to discuss international issues. They say the Mideast, but it also, of course, would involve all these emails that are now coming out. But joining me now, she's back in Boston for the week, is Grace Curley. And Grace,
actually, Howie, I want to discuss exactly what you're talking about. So it's a perfect segue. I'm a bit disappointed, not in President Trump, but in whoever was negotiating with the debate commission. I mean, this. The moderator seems like she's more left than Savannah Guthrie. Video came out this weekend of her talking to one of Hillary Clinton's campaign people in 2016 and essentially telling her what questions they were going to ask during the debate.
There was a lot of that going around in 2016, you may recall. How about Donna Brazile directly feeding the questions to the CNN questions to Hillary Clinton? Directly.
I just don't understand why we couldn't get anyone better. I mean, I know it's slim pickings, but it just doesn't seem. She has pictures with President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. She's not on the
family,
level.
She comes from this uber wealthy family in Philadelphia, and they've contributed tens of thousands of dollars to Democrats, tens of thousands of dollars. And didn't she once ask President Trump a question? Are you a puppet of Putin? Yes or no? Yes or no? Just screaming the question out.
And Howie, I just want to say this, and I've said it before. It's not Joe Biden that drives me the most crazy, because it's like anything else. It's the people who enable this kind of behavior. And I really blame the press, the American media, for letting him, even that question that Taylor played in the first hour with the milkshake. And then when they ask him about the FBI thing and he says he's not going to answer it, they laugh like they think he's funny, and they think it's funny that he's not answering their questions. And they're just so meek and pathetic. Like, nobody says, wait, we want an answer to this. It's just like the Supreme Court. In his mind, this is the elitism and the arrogance of Joe Biden. He truly doesn't think we deserve to know. We should just vote for him. And if you're black and you don't vote for him, then you ain't black. But that's just another,
I think somebody just told him to use that line. I don't think he's very thoughtful about anything. And again, when he says, do you have a response to the New York Post stories? And he says, I have no response. That is a response.
Right.
That is a response. You're not saying it's Russian disinformation. You're not saying it's made up. You're saying I have no response. And that's basically a non-denial denial. It's a confirmation.
And he says
sorts.
it's a smear campaign. It's a smear campaign. But this is what the left does when we have a story that people want to hear about. They say it's a conspiracy theory. It's right-wing talking points. My personal favorite. It's been debunked.
Right. And then another one is nobody cares. Another one is nobody cares.
Right.
And then a day after nobody cares, they say, it's old news.
But I think what really separates this, Howie, and maybe I'm naive, but I do think, and I haven't been in journalism as long as you have, Howard, but part of me does think that pictures make a difference. And some of those pictures are so unsettling. And I think it's just the tip of the iceberg as far as what's on the laptop goes. there's something about that family. It's not good. It's not good. And I think that's going to stick in people's minds. But another thing, Howie, I wanted to bring up, which I heard a lot from people this weekend, I always try to get the vibe, read the tea leaves, see what's going on out there, what people think. And something that a few people brought up to me was, you remember a few months back, it was revealed that Obama had said to Joe, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
And the media tried to spin it as in, oh, he's looking out for him. Joe Biden's older. It's becoming more and more clear. Obama knew all of this crap was going to hit the fan. And so he probably was thinking to himself, why are you doing this?
What's going on, Taylor?
President Trump holding his rally is talking about the Biden crime family.
Let's listen to this.
Go.
Let's listen.
Anthony Weiner. You remember that? Ding, 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 ding. He got hacked too, just like Scully got hacked. Remember, he said he got hacked. He was sending messages to very, very young women. Girls. He was sending messages, a lot of them. And he got hacked. They always say they got hacked. Scully got hacked, right? Scully. He was a never Trumper. He got hacked. I've never known a person that said he got hacked that got hacked. Nobody gets hacked. To get hacked, you need somebody with 197 IQ, and he needs about 15% of your password, right? Doesn't happen. So Scully got hacked. And now on Thursday, I go up another real great one. Another great one. Kristen Welker. She's a radical Democrat. Look at them, they're getting angry. She's a radical Democrat. She deleted her entire account. Everything is deleted.
Yep.
But I've known her. She's been screaming questions at me for a long time. And she's no good. But I figure, what the hell? She asked you a question. How did I do the other night against one that was worse? She was worse, Savannah. So I had Savannah Guthrie the other night. She was like a crazed lunatic. She was literally rising out of her chair as she's screaming questions. And how about that great woman behind me? She kept going. I love her. I don't know too much. I met her right after. She's great. But I tell you, she was definitely a Trump person. They made a big mistake. The mistake they made was they forgot to check the audience. The audience was great. And how about the woman that came up and said, I love your smile. I love your smile.
She's become a prop in
so
these
handsome.
things. She mentions
You're so
every
handsome. You're
speech
so
he makes.
handsome
I watched some of them this weekend. Then we can take a break now.
Howie, but can I first I want to let people know that a lot of people have been asking me how they sign up for the email contest. Go to howiecarrshow.com. The box will drop down. Enter your email. You will automatically be entered into our contest. And what you win is a Howie Carr prize box. So you win 3 t-shirts, 3 books, all sorts of goodies. And last Friday's winner, I did not announce, and that was my fault. So I want to announce her now. Kathleen Robbins will be winning the Howie Carr prize box. If you want to enter, go to howiecarrshow.com and just enter your email. And then on the e-blast, Howie, they'll get great stories like your story today about the aspiring rapper, your column, tweet beat. There's a lot of content to go out.
An aspiring rapper. Try not to let this destroy your faith in the integrity of the hip hop community. An aspiring rapper in LA was arrested late last week for stealing allegedly $1.2 million in COVID relief unemployment money.
Did his mother have a comment?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
Oh,
good. The feds got a tip on it. He posted a YouTube video bragging about how much money he was stealing and showing all of his cards, his debit cards that he had from the state of California. They decided to investigate, unlike with the laptop full of Hunter Biden material that was given to the FBI in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's a new thing with criminals, is that it's not so much they get caught by anything else except themselves. They go on, Facebook or Instagram and they post their crimes.
Yeah, it's one thing, when they used to get the mafia guys that send in guys with wires that they trusted and that get them speaking after they had a few drinks. But that's stupid enough. But to put something on YouTube bragging about stealing $1 million, that was a bad move by rapper Nuke Bizzle. Nuke Bizzle.
We hardly knew ye.
Yeah, he's not going to be making too many more rap videos.
I don't know, though. Maybe, he might find a couple friends.
All right.
In prison.
Our listeners love the Thunderstorm air purifier. They've written in to Eden Pure with how much they love it, and I'm going to read you a couple of their responses. Lisa wrote directly to the company, "The Thunderstorm is everything Howie Carr claimed it would be. I have 3 dogs and 3 birds, but you wouldn't know it now." Christopher stated, "I couldn't believe the results in just 12 hours. I was so impressed I ordered 2 more." Have you been waiting to order the Thunderstorm air purifier because you weren't sure it was as good as I said it was? Don't wait. Eden Pure will continue their buy one, get one promotion for the Thunderstorm air purification system. Eden Pure has been able to do this due to the huge response and success from the Howie Carr Show listeners. The response has been tremendous, and Eden Pure is passing on their savings to the listeners. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. It could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco smells, or that damp smell you may have in your basement. Take advantage of the BOGO offer, buy one, get one, offer now and experience yourself what all the listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie BOGO. That's EdenPure.com, Howie BOGO. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Villa in Wayland, celebrating over 70 years in business. From my favorite, veal parm, to their seafood dinners, the Villa has all your home-cooked favorites. Who loves you, baby? The Villa, that's who.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Raycon's newest wireless earbuds, the Everyday E25s, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and a noise-isolating fit that really allows you to focus on what you're listening to. Get 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds at buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie. I think that's going to be part of our Christmas gifts to most of our sponsors on the radio and all of our forums and platforms. So that's how much we love them. We love the things, don't we? Don't we, Grace?
I love my Raycons, and yeah, they're just great. And you know what I noticed, Howie? I forgot them when I went to Florida, which was a really bad mistake, because every day I go on my walk and I'd spend the first 20 minutes untangling my headphones. It's just, you put it really well. You look like a lame without your Raycons.
Yeah, you do. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will NBC's Kristen Welker bring up the Hunter Biden story during Thursday's debate?
Not unless she's absolutely forced to, and I can't imagine that. So I'm going to say no.
I would not only say she's not going to bring it up, I think she's going to shut Trump down if he dare bring it up and say, sir, we're not going to talk about that. It's been debunked.
This might be the debate where they mute the mics.
Exactly.
Yeah, apparently the Trump people are very concerned about that. Bill Stepien, the campaign manager, wrote a letter to the Commission on Presidential Debates today saying that they'd heard these reports that they're going to mute the candidates they don't like, i.e. Donald Trump. So we'll see. We're gonna have someone from the campaign to talk about this later on in the show.
98% say nope, this story will not be brought up by Kristen Welker.
And you know what the real reason is well, besides the fact they're all, in the bag for Biden, but the other thing is they all are afraid of becoming the person who gets blamed if Trump wins, that they helped, they asked the one question that turned around the events. They're all afraid of being like Jimmy Fallon. Do you remember he did that interview with Trump where he tousled his hair a little bit with his hand, and they all started saying Jimmy Fallon humanized Trump, weeks before the election. Nobody wants to be the person who gets blamed for everything. So they're all coming at him incredibly hard.
Right. And it may be my imagination, but doesn't it seem like Chris Wallace has been ubiquitous on Fox since that dreadful debate performance that he turned in? I mean, it's like even Fox is hedging their bets on whether or not there's going to be a new era come January, and they're going to have to make peace with these people who have no problem shutting down the First Amendment, as they've shown with the New York Post. And
I just
Twitter.
find it amazing that people who, if I have a bad take on something, which it happens, everyone has bad takes that don't age well. I usually either offer a mea culpa or I take a beat before offering my next hot take. Chris Wallace goes from saying Steve Scully is a very, 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 reputable man. And then right afterwards, he's like, I don't really believe this story about, Hunter Biden because Rudy Giuliani is not a credible source. Credible source? You were backing Steve Scully 48 hours ago. Why don't you take a deep breath, Chuck?
Right. I know. This is the classic thing that the press has always complained about, the tendency of the public to blame the messenger, right? And so Chris Wallace, who's been a hack his entire life, is blaming Rudy Giuliani for being the messenger who gets this stuff. Why did Giuliani have to get it out? Why wasn't there any interest in the mainstream media about finding this? Why did the guy in Wilmington, Delaware, who had this stuff, why did he feel he couldn't call any reporters? He had to call a politician and a former mayor of New York to get the thing out.
Well, Howie, I always give this example, but I think it's very true. It reminds me of this situations. I used to watch the show Cheaters, and sometimes they'd catch the husband cheating, and a lot of the men would turn it around and say, why were you snooping through my phone? And in other words, it's your fault for finding out the info, not the info itself. What Hunter Biden and Joe Biden did is the problem. How it came to be shouldn't be the number one issue for these people, but that's all they care about is, well, why did he bring it to the laptop man? As if that matters. It doesn't matter. There's pictures.
And how disgraceful is it? And how cynical are they to try to blame Russia again?
I know.
I mean,
there's only so much they can do over there. I mean,
that
They
would
can't be
bring it.
responsible for everything.
And if you go back to look at that interview with Adam Schiff with Wolf Blitzer, he's crying wolf to Wolf Blitzer. And he uses the word Kremlin about 1 million times. Does this make him some kind of Russian expert to use the word Kremlin over and over and over again? We'll be right back with Joe DeGenova to discuss the FBI's disgraceful performance.
Hamilton
I'm
said,
Howie Carr.
"Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the water experts serving Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. skillingsandsons.com.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, for me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here's 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no? Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
Here are some rapid fire questions with Taylor Cormier. What would you eat for your last meal on Earth?
I'm fond of old favorites, childhood favorites. I'd go with my mother's beef and bean pie, followed by, for dessert, my grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies and a big glass of milk.
Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Home. I like being home. I like my house. I know where everything is. Yeah, I just like being home.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to listen to?
It's called Without a Song, and it's on the album I Remember Tommy. It's a tribute to Tommy Dorsey, and it's a very swinging remake of the original orchestration.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to sing?
My favorite one to sing is One for My Baby and One for the Road. It's a very sad song, but it's somebody coming to the realization that this is the way life is, and they've come to terms with it. And I think it's something that everybody can connect to. It's a great equalizer for everybody in the room.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Joining us now, as he does most Monday afternoons at this time, is Joe DeGenova, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and he is an acute observer of what's been going on with the deep state, Obamagate, and now we have Huntergate, which has just come up in the last week. We knew it was out there, but now we have this computer. And Joe, I just wanted to start off by asking you, how bad exactly was the FBI's performance in this latest Democrat scandal?
Very bad. And I think we can characterize this scandal as, what did the FBI not do, and when did they not do it? This is an appalling performance by the greatest investigative organization in the world, under the leadership of the worst FBI director in history, Christopher Wray. Now, what is happening now is that they had in their possession evidence which is clearly exculpatory, directly related to the impeachment of the President of the United States, and did not let anyone know that they had it. I do not know how Christopher Wray continues in his job after the election, no matter what the result. This is appalling performance. And what was done to investigate, secondarily, what is on those tapes? Apparently, nothing. So many, many questions, all legitimate. And today, as you know, John Ratcliffe said, this is not Russian disinformation, what is on that computer. And we know that the Biden family sought the computer back from the gentleman who owns the computer store, thus verifying its authenticity.
Right.
So here we go.
Right. I'm more appalled, though, by what happened. Apparently, the father of the owner of the computer shop, he's a Vietnam veteran, flew gunships in Vietnam, is active in veterans organizations. I guess he lives out in New Mexico. He took the computer and laid it all out to agents who refused to identify themselves, by the way, in the Albuquerque office, and they just blew him right off. They just didn't pay any attention to it, like they did with the Parkland high school shooter when his aunt called to try to give him up to the FBI. They didn't even pass it on. And then when the whole Ukrainian impeachment hoax began, they went and they got a subpoena to pick up the computer, and then that was the last we've heard of it, right? It was like they were picking it up to make it go away.
The problem with the performance of the FBI is that there's no end to either the incompetence or the duplicity. You do not take a piece of evidence like this and do nothing with it. Who was notified of its existence inside the FBI? Seems to me if it's the vice president's son's computer, everybody up the chain of command, including Christopher Wray, knows about it. What did they do with the information? Did they analyze the computer? Are there any spreadsheets from what they found out? We don't know that. The only information we're getting is from the people who got legal possession of it, Rudy Giuliani and his lawyer, Bob Costello. And now we're learning as a result of stories that are coming out based on the legitimate release of information from the hard drive. So I'm told that the stuff that has not been released, some of it is so horrific that there are decisions being made about how to deal with it. It involves criminal activity, and it's going to require, I think, some discussion among a lot of people about how to release it.
Now, one of the points that's been made by some of the internet observers, if not in the mainstream media, is that the subpoena for the laptop actually was signed by one of the FBI's leading experts on child pornography, a guy who's been cited in many newspapers and media stories as being the FBI's guy when it comes to this horrible topic. But he's also stationed in Wilmington, apparently. So did he just sign it as a pro forma, being the agent most senior, or do you think this is a child pornography issue? I'm asking you the same question that Maria asked Senator Ron Johnson.
Well, I don't think this is an accidental assignment because, first of all, this is the computer of the Vice President of the United States, former Vice President at the time that it is turned over. So this is a fairly serious matter. Something must have been known about its contents because the man who owned it went to the FBI and told them about it and the things that were on it. So they issued the subpoena after he had spoken with them, which means it was a conscious decision to choose the FBI agent who had that expertise.
So Rudy Giuliani said last week that he had probably convicted 100 guys of federal crimes with less evidence that he had seen on that computer. Do you agree?
I do. I agree wholeheartedly. I have to, as a full disclosure, Victoria Tunsing, my wife, and I were working with Rudy on this issue. I'm from Delaware. I have a lot of contacts in Delaware in law enforcement. And so we were assisting Rudy in deciding what to do and how to do it. So just full disclosure, I'm actually involved in the matter.
So have you seen these videotapes?
No, I have not, but I've had them described to me.
And does it involve crimes against children?
I will only say this. The decision about how to release them is one of the most delicate decisions anybody's going to have to make in this thing. And so, I will only say there is criminal activity on the computer in many forms.
I'm losing my feed. I can't hear Joe. Do we still have him with us?
I'm here.
I'm not hearing anything. See if you can turn it up. We're talking to Joe DeGenova, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and I'm asking him how much he's seen here. But I'm just I'm having a problem with my.
Can you hear me now?
My headphones. 844.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, I got it now. I don't know what happened there, Joe. But so, Joe,
that's okay.
When they talk about getting this stuff out, I mean, some goes to the New York Post one day, some goes to one of the conservative cable networks. Is that how they're doling it out, or how's this going to be handled? I mean, there's only 2 weeks left.
Well, I'm not involved in the giving out of the information. I was involved in Victoria was mostly involved in the evaluation process. This is basically her responsibility. But let me just say, we're not involved in divvying out the information. But Rudy's fairly smart guy, and they're doing what they can do to get it out. Obviously, now that Twitter has shut down the New York Post Twitter thing, it makes it more difficult to get a wider play. But here's the thing that kind of confuses me. I like the people at the New York Post. I mean, I read it and I read their columnists. I can't figure out why the New York Post hasn't sued Twitter. This is a newspaper that's being censored on a public platform that has the responsibility to act under the statute in good faith under Section 230. There is no way that they should be censoring this. And I do not understand why the New York Post is not suing to get an injunction. I just don't understand it. This has nothing to do with material that is offensive. This is very important public information that has extremely important value in the middle of a campaign. And therefore, it's pretty clear that Twitter is acting in bad faith, not in good faith, as Section 230 requires. I think the Post has a phenomenal lawsuit to get an injunction to be put back up on Twitter.
I used to work for Rupert Murdoch, and I know that he plays the long game, Joe, as you know. And don't you think he's just hedging his bets a little bit in case the Democrats do come to power? I mean, they've made it pretty clear that there's nothing that they're not willing to do to stifle any kind of opposition.
Well, you're either in the news business or you're not. And my view is this is one of the biggest stories ever. Let's remember what's at stake here. This is evidence that the Vice President of the United States, both while he was a senator and while he was Vice President and after Vice President, was involved in a comprehensive shakedown scheme, pay to play with his family, where they would get money for access to him and he would get a cut of the money. That is bribery. That is extortion. That is a violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. You name it. Conspiracy, mail fraud, wire fraud. This is so criminal in its nature that it's not even close. And the notion that newspapers don't want to touch this, again, Howie, we don't have journalism anymore. These people are hacks.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, even though I'm still in the newspaper business. How about the fact that some of these organizations are going out there and saying that this is being investigated by the FBI as Russian disinformation? I mean, talk about disinformation. They're disinforming the American people about disinformation, aren't they?
Well, that's false. It's not being investigated as disinformation. John Ratcliffe said that's not true. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, that somebody in the FBI leaked that.
You're right.
That may be to cover their fanny, but it isn't true. That's not that's not what's being investigated. The question is, what are they investigating, if anything, at the FBI? And apparently, up until now, the answer is nothing.
Yeah, because we haven't heard about any subpoenas or target letters or subject letters. None of the usual things that you do when you're closing in on a group of conspirators, right? Nothing has been done.
It looks like the Vice President and his family got special treatment from the FBI in Delaware. Now, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware is a guy who's been in the office many, many times. He's kind of a lifer. And it's unclear to me what his role is. But if you're the U.S. Attorney, like I was, and something like this comes in, you know about it, believe me. And that's a very small state. Delaware is like a closet. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's private life. There are no secrets in Delaware. So this issue, and of course, everybody knew that Hunter had a drug problem and a hooker problem and a brothel problem. Just imagine this: how many CIA assets were used to travel behind Hunter when he was overseas, to shadow him, to make sure that he didn't get killed in a brothel or killed in a crack house or a drug den overseas? What assets of the federal government were deployed to protect him when he was the vice president's son, traveling either with his father overseas or on his own overseas, which he did also? So the story is bigger than just Hunter himself. It just radiates out from him. And it all ends up with the vice president. Clearly, the vice president lied. He said, I never discussed my son's business with them. Well, that's a crock. Everybody knows that now, but you don't hear the press saying anything. Mr. Vice President, why did you lie to us? Because they're doing everything they can to cover for him. But just think about the extortion and the blackmail of the Biden family from all the activity that he was engaged in, and the blackmail of the vice president. This is stunning. There's never been anything like this. This is exactly what they are alleging Donald Trump was going to be subject to.
We've all seen what they do to a politician or a gangster that they want to take down. The money trail is pretty easy to follow now, and you have Hunter on record as saying he had to kick up 50% of everything that he collected in his assorted alleged rackets to the big guy, to Pop. You know, how come they can't?
Everybody,
go ahead.
They can find this. They can find this in a New York Minute. Bank records, financial records, investment records. And listen, if you get that kind of money, It has to be put in banks. And believe me, there are plenty of banks and credit card companies in Delaware that Joe Biden has helped for 40 years. You know, they repealed all of their usury laws in Delaware. So that's why all the credit card companies went there, so they could charge 18, 20, and 25% on their credit cards.
And Hunter got a job out of there,
usury
out of
laws.
law school. He was hired by one of those big banks that was benefiting from Joe's machinations in the U.S. Senate. You know,
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, Joe, we gotta stop. But I appreciate you being with us, and thank you again. And
Sure.
I hope something's going to come of this, Joe. I certainly do. Thank you, Joe DeGeneva. If you haven't watched Bill O'Reilly's Money Message by going to HowieCarrShow.com and clicking on the Bill O'Reilly banner, then do it today. One network refused to run it because of its, quote, conservative nature, unquote. That's outrageous. So we are doing all we can to get the message out to you. It's important now more than ever to look at where your money is and not put your head in the sand. Bill O'Reilly is calling Oxford Club chief investment strategist Alexander Green one of the nation's top financial minds. They square off in this controversial money message. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Bill O'Reilly banner. See O'Reilly and Green as they discuss why nearly 2,000 Americans are becoming millionaires daily and how you can dramatically increase your wealth too. Through a special discount offer, you'll also receive a copy of O'Reilly's United States of Trump best-selling book. Supplies are limited and disappearing fast, so act today. HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Bill O'Reilly banner. Start feeling secure about your life savings and investments today. HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Bill O'Reilly banner. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by Old New England
Put up the
Soap.
lines
Try
if
the
you
new
want.
Woodwick soy candles that burn for up to 100 hours. There are great scents that will make your home smell fantastic. Visit Old in East.
Ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s, are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Camp, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
203 asks a question. If the FBI issued a subpoena, why don't they have the computer now? They do have the computer now. What Rudy Giuliani and the New York Post and other media outlets have now is copies of it. The computer repairman, he just sat on it for a while, and he called Hunter and emailed him and said, "Can you pay me the $85 and come and pick it up?" And he never heard back from him. And then this whole Ukrainian hoax began, and he looked up he decided to go into the records he'd made. He'd copied everything off the hard drive, and he did a word search. This is from the New York Post. He did a word search for Burisma on Hunter's laptop. Bingo. 4 months later, the impeachment's big news, so he decides to contact the FBI via a friend in case the material on the laptop is useful. And then his father does it first, according to other sources. But on December 9th, 2 FBI agents take away the laptop and the hard drive. December 9th. When was the impeachment? The trial was in 2 months later, right? And nobody at the FBI bothered to tell the president that there was this exculpatory evidence about these shakedowns, which Joe Biden had already bragged about on videotape, which he already had. This was more corroborating evidence on top of that video in front of the Council on Foreign Relations. Matt, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Matt.
Howie, not one tweet from the African American community about how the crime bill that Joe Biden put into place got all of these black people in jail for using crack, but his son got to run around the globe with the FBI and security.
I hadn't thought about that. That is really a good point, Matt. They always said that they increased the penalties on crack because more black people than white people use crack. But in this case, this is Hunter Biden using crack, and he's getting a total pass. He's never, other than losing his military position in the Navy, he never paid any price whatsoever, did he?
He didn't. And Biden's campaign line has been, we want to put the people on Park Street in jail or give them the same crime that somebody in the Main Street was getting.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, you're right. There was great outcry 25 years ago when this bill was passed because the penalties for crack were so much more severe than the penalties for traditional powder cocaine. I'm Howie Carr.
Who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
This is the president, once again, just thumping his chest and acting like he is the dictator that I think he wants to be.
The president of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation.
People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. This is more the actions of a dictator.
He totally wants to be a dictator. It's so obvious.
Much like Hitler took over the Nazi party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
He went full Hitler.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century.
It's simply a Stalinist phrase, for God's sake.
He sounded not like a president of the United States. He actually sounded like Saddam Hussein.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute of getting to know Jared Diglio. What would be your last meal on Earth?
Pizza. Cheese pizza. Just regular cheese pizza.
What drink are you going to have with your pizza?
I gotta go Coke. You gotta go Coke with pizza. It's the perfect combination.
Where's your favorite vacation spot?
I'm a staycation kind of guy. I like just staying in my place, but if I had to go to a destination, I love Italy, especially Rome.
If you could live in any state besides Massachusetts, which one would you choose?
Nevada. Wide open land. People leave you alone. Plus, it's not that far from Vegas or LA.
If you weren't in radio, what profession would you be in?
Gigolo.
Favorite comic book character?
Spider-Man. He's been my favorite since I was a kid. He's the most identifiable of the superheroes. He's just kind of a normal guy who's got a lot of problems, but he's got to overcome it and save the day.
Favorite Star Trek character?
I love TNG, but I got to go with James T. Kirk.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Adam Schiff is out and about this weekend on Sunday morning shows saying all of this news is just Russian disinformation.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
You know, I wasn't going to say this at all, but I can't help it. There you go again.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
You are the director of national intelligence. Is this Russian disinformation, Director?
It's funny that some of the people that complain the most about intelligence being politicized are the ones politicizing intelligence. It is Adam Schiff who said that the intelligence community believes Hunter Biden's laptop and the emails on it are part of some Russian disinformation campaign. Let me be clear. The intelligence community doesn't believe that because there's no intelligence that supports that.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
We're just scratching the surface. And yes, I've heard all kinds of things that I think will probably be revealed over the next few days. There's a treasure trove of emails and video and pictures in not only the purported computer of Hunter Biden, but now we've got the co-conspirator. I guess we're probably going to just find more information every day over the next couple of weeks.
Mr. Biden, what is your response to the New York Post story about your son, sir?
I know you had asked it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign.
He will not be seen again after today until Thursday night in Nashville at that next debate. This week is mostly about debate prep.
Right.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get?
Come on, man. The American people deserve a straight answer, Joe.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
What flavor did you get? That may be the most probing journalistic inquiry since Bill Clinton was asked, boxers or briefs? I mean, can you imagine the president, Donald J. Trump, ever being asked a question like that? The only question he ever got asked about ice cream is, why did you get 2 scoops when those hacks from Time Magazine only got 1 scoop? Good Lord. 844-500-4242. 413 says, great interview with Joe. His reluctance to answer the question about crimes against children was very telling. We're going to try to get that tape from Newsmax and have Newsmax tweet it out, and we'll tweet it out as well. It was rather telling that they don't even want to get into generalities about what's on there. I watched an interview with Rudy this weekend with the reporter for the Daily Caller, and he just was just as cagey as Joe DeGeneva was. You know, the New Yorker in the days when it wasn't a left-wing organ of the Democrat Party, when it was actually a magazine, they used to have this section called Talk of the Town, and it was just like light features about people who were in town or art exhibits opening up, or the Subway World Series, or something New Yorker. The title of the column was, and it was written by all various people, Talk of the Town. So Jeffrey Toobin, who was just exposed today, you might say, for exposing himself to So the headline in the New York Post now, it's a brilliant headline. Talk of the Town, New Yorker probing Jeffrey Toobin for bizarre penis incident on Zoom call. I don't know. You know what? I bet he comes back. He's such a dedicated apparatchik. You know, he's such a useful idiot for the left that I think he can survive this. That would be a good poll question, though, maybe for tomorrow. Anyway, time now for the chump line.
So I was at the Zoom conference when all of a sudden there was Mr. Toobin without trousers. Or should I say sans culottes?
That is the way the French would describe it if they did it. So, you know, from now on, for the next 23 years, there'll be people. So you hear Freddie got fired? Yeah, there was a Zoom conference and he pulled a Toobin. Or he Toobined. I don't know. Is it he pulled a Toobin or he Toobined? What do you think, Grace?
I think it's he pulled a Toobin, but I will say, I'm wondering, do you think Jeffrey Toobin wandered in a daze while he was on the Zoom call?
That's one of our jokes. When Ted Kennedy killed Mary Jo Kopechne at Chappaquiddick and then waited 12 hours to report it to the cops, the Boston Globe dutifully reported that the senator had wandered in a daze for hours after his drunken misadventure. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, reminding everyone that for the past 2 months we've been tortured by nonstop political ads. If you've been shy about singing one of our Matthews carols, trust me, the radio audience will love you. Only a few days left. Go to MatthewsBrothers.com and sing.
Hi, I'm an out-of-work lawyer. My name is Jeffrey Tube Out.
Is this going to affect his child support payments to Jeff Greenfield's daughter and his child that he had and denied paternity of for all those years?
No, subpoenas, Mr. Toobin. Subpoenas.
Yes, sub means under, by the way. Shouldn't he have kept it sub?
Hey, Howie, just to go back on your last talk about what he was previously known for, someone tweeted out, well, at least now he'll go down for something else besides that horrible story.
I want to know, has his Harvard Law School classmate, Elena Kagan, issued a statement? Is she shocked?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
Is she disappointed? Is she shocked? Is she appalled? Is she chagrined? Or does she say, "Oh, that's just Jeffrey"? We used to walk down to the square down Mass Ave on a warm Indian summer afternoon, et cetera, et cetera.
If you like subpoena coladas and getting caught in Ukraine, when your dad's into children and you are into cocaine.
Crack cocaine.
Shoot him in the leg, sniff her in her hair, chop the cops a peg, China everywhere.
Yeah, shooting them in the leg. I think that's going over big in police circles. I think a lot of cops are talking about that with their fellows. You know, I mean, we talk about it a little bit, but we don't have to deal with the problem every day or every week at least. I mean, Joe Biden is so clueless. Even before the dementia began to set in, he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. unless he was stealing somebody else's lines, like coming out of a coal mine.
Oh man, Howie, I like Biden's idea for prescription drugs. I hope he makes it Medicare Part Double D. Way.
Yeah. I wonder what Bill Clinton thinks about Jeffrey Toobin and Hunter Biden's videos, as horrible as they are. And incidentally, if I'd been Senator Ron Johnson, I don't think I would have described the videos as a treasure trove. I mean, I think, that's a mistake you make sometimes, but I don't think it's just not a phrase you want to use, looking back on it.
Hey, can I get the computer shop repairman in a death pool?
Actually, he said that to in one of his emails, I think, which Miranda Devine was reporting today in the New York Post. An old Herald editorial assistant who's really done well for herself. I'm looking here. Oh, here she says. Here's the email that he sent, I guess, to Rudy. This was on August 27th. There is some very incriminating video on the drive. I live and work in Wilmington, Delaware, and my life here, as well as my business, would be destroyed if people found out what I was involved in. I've been trying to keep things quiet, but I feel time has been running out. That's really a good email. I mean, and it's true. I think he's probably going to have to relocate. I hope Trump wins re-election, and yet for yet another reason, he can get this guy into witness protection program.
Come on, Howie. A gangster rapper that stole millions of dollars is going to lose fan base?
I don't know that he's going to lose fan base, but I think he's going to be in a position where he can't record too many more videos for YouTube. And I think his personal appearances are going to be more than somewhat limited.
McKay, you better have gotten that Eden Pure back by the opening of business hours today.
I haven't seen it yet. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, here it is. He brought it back. He just had it on his desk. I got it. I'm holding it up now for social media. Good work.
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
There it is. It's a miracle drug.
They made a Parker doll wear the head bobs, along with a few other moonbat slobs. These people are liberal sheeple who are all averse to holding real jobs.
Yes, the numbers continue to come in. Over 2/3 of the fatalities week to week are from the nursing homes that he was responsible for regulating. He's done nothing. They're now canceling Halloween. Not him, but the mayors are canceling Halloween, even in places like Salem where they make millions of dollars off the tourists. Somerville, of course, canceling Halloween. They're talking about you're not going to be allowed to visit anyone except your close relatives at Thanksgiving. I've got a list of crackdowns that's been announced by Gavin Newsom. I got to read that to you. It's as crazy as his statement a couple of weeks ago that you had to keep your mask on in a restaurant except when you took a bite. And I guess when you take a bite, when you chew, you have to put the mask back on. But he's got another list of Thanksgiving regulations that are just as insane.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
That's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can leave a message anytime between the hours of 1 and 5 every weekday. The Chump Line number is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday, or we may play it after the show ends in Chop Chumps. That's our podcast of Chump Line messages that were left on the cutting room floor. Chop Chumps. Get Chop Chumps wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, reminding everyone that for the past 2 months, we've been tortured by nonstop political ads. If you've been shy about singing one of our Matthews carols, trust me, the radio audience will love you. Only a few days left. Go to MatthewsBrothers.com and sing.
No, subpoenas, Mr. Toobin. Subpoenas.
I think a guy who went to Harvard Law School would know what a subpoena is as opposed to a sub. Well, you know. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
The 2020 elections have the potential to shape the next decade financially. That's especially true if you're within 10 years of retirement. Is your plan ready? Find out with a portfolio stress test from Kevin Frisby at Frisby & Associates. Call 800-989-9100 for your no-cost, no-obligation analysis. Kevin can help uncover any hidden fees that may be lurking in your plan. The team at Frisby & Associates are up to date on all the latest rules and regulations from what the Secure Act is and isn't to Social Security and Medicare. Let Kevin and the team give you peace of mind as you get near retirement. Make sure your plan is ready for whatever happens come November. It starts with a phone call to Frisby & Associates, 800-989-9100. And be sure to catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday at 3:50 as he reviews the market. Call Kevin now at 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7220.
newest wireless earbuds, the Everyday E25s, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and a noise-isolating fit that really allows you to focus on what you're listening to. Get 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds at buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will NBC's Kristen Welker bring up the Hunter Biden story during Thursday's debate?
No, she will not.
98% say no.
Officer Mark says this scandal gives a whole new meaning to YouTube.
Ha, 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 ha.
We're having too much fun with this, all of us. It's just so entertaining to see such a sanctimonious, pompous jackass hoist on his own petard. And again, how does CNN find these people, by the way? They had another contributor. Remember the guy named Andrew Gillum? He almost was elected governor of Florida. And then they hired him he was in a photo finish with a federal grand jury from being mayor of Tallahassee, and he won. But then he got hired as a analyst for CNN, and he was found passed out with a gay male hustler in a Collins Avenue hotel in Miami Beach. And he was drunk and throwing up all over himself, and the gay male hustler had overdosed on some drugs, and he was a CNN contributor. And then isn't Peter Strzok a CNN contributor too, or is that Lisa Page? One is at one network and one is at the other. Oh, and Andrew McCabe, who lied under oath 3 times at his first day as acting director of the FBI, and whose wife took all that money from the Clinton bundler while he was deep sixing the Hillary Clinton espionage investigation in 2016. He's a CNN analyst. And then there's James Clapper, who lied, the former D&I director of national intelligence, who lied to Congress, committed perjury to Congress, and this weekend said that the Hunter Biden video was classic Russian disinformation, which was in fact classic Clapper disinformation to call the laptop classic Russian disinformation. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
At Subaru of New England, we're proud to be more than a car company. We are committed to keeping all animals safe and healthy. That's why during the month of October, we're partnering with 12 nonprofit animal organizations throughout New England for Subaru Loves Pets. By posting a photo of your best animal friend using the hashtag SNELovesPets, we'll donate $5 towards our goal. Learn more at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Let me tell you about a new sponsor to the Howie Carr Show, Helping Hands of America. For over 2 decades, Helping Hands has made donating your car, truck, or boat to a New England charity incredibly easy. I've donated, and you should too. It takes one call. The pickup is not only fast, but it's free, and your donation is 100% tax deductible. Call Helping Hands at 888-881-9090. That's 888-881-9090. Or visit helpinghandsofamerica.org. Restrictions may apply.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great
Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable. But one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, just checking on oil again today. I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you.
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, let me do something else. What do you say the Americans who are scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his name?
report. I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible without widespread testing, how would you know?
Here are some rapid-fire questions with Taylor Cormier. If you had to live in a state besides Massachusetts, which would you choose?
Montana. No question about it. When is the last time you've heard of anything happening in Montana? The answer is you haven't. It's quiet. Nobody's going to bother you in Montana.
If you weren't a radio guy, what profession would you be in?
My number one dream job is to be an antique dealer. You know, like the American Pickers. I would love that job. Going through people's old garbage and junk and trying to find that diamond in the rough, and you're always learning as you go. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I think that's why I go antiquing on the weekends.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What's Aaron's title?
Favorite TV show?
The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason is the most hilarious
Director of
person on
Press
television
Communications.
What is your favorite soda?
I'm not a big soda guy. It's got to be a special occasion for me to drink soda, but I'm partial to Dr. Pepper.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. As you know, Thursday night is the last debate. Joe Biden has got a lid on his campaign. He's catching up on his sleep, taking power naps throughout the day, trying to be ready. According to some stories, his aides are saying that this is it. This is the campaign. This is the presidency on the line on Thursday night. And so, of course, the Democrats have a rabid Democrat partisan who's going to be hosting or moderating the debate, Kristen Welker from NBC News, which is owned by Comcast, as the president calls it, not Comcast, Comcast. And she has announced her issues as fighting COVID-19, American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and leadership. So, in other words, these are Democrat talking points. Nothing about his successes in foreign policy or the Hunter Biden laptops or killing al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, et cetera, et cetera. So today, the campaign manager of the Trump effort, Bill Stepien, sent a letter to the Commission on Presidential Debates saying that they want to have a discussion, or they want to make sure that the debate will go forward as it was initially intended to go forward on, which is on the issues of foreign policy. As is the longstanding custom, as had been promised by the Commission on Presidential Debates, said Stepien, we had expected that foreign policy would be the central focus of the October 22nd debate. We urge you to recalibrate the topics and return to the subjects that had already been confirmed. Joining us now on the line to discuss this letter and the upcoming debate is Erin Perrine. She is the director of the presidential communications for Trump 2020. Erin, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show. What's the is the larger complaint here Kristen Welker, the moderator, and the fact that she is a rabid Democrat partisan?
No, I